Hi, everybody. It's episode 498 of PodQuest.
Hey.
It is Wednesday, February 28th, 2024. I am Chris. With me is Walnut.
Yeah, I'm here.
Drew is somewhere else doing something else.
He got his dates mixed up. He thought we were going to record on Tuesday, but that's actually next week, but we're actually fine to record on Wednesday. So he's just all sorts of discombobulated, I think.
Yeah, he really did. He's like, can we record Tuesday? Wait, no, Wednesday's fine, but I can't. No, not this week. I won't be there this week.
He's just all sorts mixed up.
It happens. It happens. I meant to actually say this before we started recording. Totally forgot. I don't know if you saw. They announced a second Philly date for that Stardew Valley concert.
Did they really?
Yeah, and it looks like there are still tickets available. I don't know how many or like if they're reasonably together, but yeah, it's June 1st. I want to say was the second date.
Interesting.
Like it. Honestly, like if you can swing it and like get a ticket and all, we went this past Saturday. It was a really good time. And is it sold out? It wasn't sold out on Sunday.
Yep, it's sold out. I just checked I'm just looking at their website now, and it is showing June 1st, Philadelphia sold out.
That is stupid. Yeah, Sunday it wasn't sold out, and I meant to say something to you sooner and just totally forgot about it.
Yeah,
but
it's fine. Yeah, it's fine.
They'll probably do it again.
Life hates me. It's okay.
It seems to be doing very well, so they'll probably do another one.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
It's cool though. Apparently, it's I'm assuming it's in every city. It's the local like orchestra musicians.
Yeah, usually when they do things like these, that's what it is. Like whenever there was like the when I saw the Pokemon Orchestra and when I saw Legend of Zelda, it was the local Philharmonic doing those.
Oh, see, I've never been to one of those before, so I didn't realize that. The closest was Emo Orchestra, where they had like half of it were the traveling musicians and half of it were local musicians just for that one night.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it was cool, and I have no real reference for the Stardew music, and found it enjoyable.
Yeah, Stardew's great. Stardew's great.
Yeah, apparently there's a new update in the works.
Yeah, I mean he's constantly updating it, and I mean I'm still waiting on the Chocolatier to come out too.
Well, that's the funny thing is the last major update like a year or two ago was like, hey, this is going to be the last major content update. I'm going to focus on the Chocolatier game. And now here he's coming with another major content update.
Which, you know what? Great. More content for that game means more eventual content for my YouTube eventually.
If you ever do it.
Well, little teaser. I recorded episode 1 of my time at Porsche. So, depending on how that goes, and because there's an end to my time at Porsche, just like there is sort of an end to Stardew. Once I beat my time at Porsche, that's one of the games that's going to be on the list for that day's release. So my time at Porsche will be on Saturdays. It's not next week, but the week after. So the same week that we have episode 5 of 7 Days to Die, Farm Life is going to be the same week we have episode 1 of my Wana at Porsche.
I'll try and remember to tell Erica, because I know she has played at least a little bit of that one.
Mm-hmm. It's
actually, she may have played more than a little bit of that one, because I think My Time at Porsche is the first one, right? It was My Time at Sandrock is the sequel.
Yeah, Sandrock's the sequel.
Yeah, so I think she may have actually played like a decent amount of Porsche.
It's like I played a little bit of Porsche on the Switch like forever ago, and I recently bought it over on Steam with the intent to do a series or a playthrough on Twitch, and I just never got around to it, or I kept doing these other things. Friggin' what's it called? The Long Dark lasted almost a year long. But that was also, there was a while I was releasing 2 episodes a week on that one. So like it was there was a lot of reasons why I haven't done it, and finally this past weekend I was like, you know what, fuck it, let's just do it. And so I did, and I recorded the first episode. The recording is 2 hours long.
So how are you doing that one? Because I know, like with a lot of them, there are those survival games that you've been doing. So you were doing them basically till you died, right?
Yeah. So 7 Days to Die is always 7 Days to Die is going to be a mainstay on my channel because it's easy to record. It's super easy to record. You record one day at a time. It takes an hour to record. and you're really only being active and recording for about 40 minutes of that, while the other 20 minutes are nighttime, and you're not really being talkative and doing anything because it's nighttime, you're staying indoors. So 7 Days to Die is real easy to record. It takes an hour. Long Dark was just like, I was always just like, I try to record for about an hour and a half to get content and then cut it down in some way, shape, or form. And that's kind of how Subnautica was as well, where it's like hour and a half or two. The most recent recording session was, or not most recent, but the recording session for next week's episode started off at, it was about 2 hours before I even started the intro. And you guys will find out when you watch this week's episode of Subnautica.
Right, because that's not a... For some reason in my head, I keep thinking that is some sort of survival game, but it's really not.
It is. It is a survival game, but there's also an underlying story to it.
Oh, I see. I didn't think it was a survival game. I thought it was like a like an exploration game, I guess, more so.
No, it's there. There's water and base building and this and that. There's water, food, base building, and all that. There's enemies that'll attack you and kill you. Like, I'm not doing permadeath on that though, because I'm in it for the story. I'm in it for the first play experience because it's my first time playing the game. I'd have zero gameplay knowledge of this game. I've seen other people play it, but I've never played it. And so I'm just playing it to play. I have other games lined up that are going to be similar to that, to like record for an hour and a half. But with my time at Portia, and this might be a big undertaking, which is why I might alter it. The recording is going to be a weekly episode, like 1 week per episode, 1 week in game per episode, which is about 2 hours of gameplay, give or take. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to record live, like I'm going to record it with my live voiceover of different situations. And then when I edit it down, I'm going to actually edit it down to a half hour with post VO talking about certain things. Because like if there's like 2-3 days where I'm just crafting or grinding and not doing anything, then you don't need to really see that. I'll just be like, all right, for the next couple of days, I spent the time doing this and that, and I went here and I went there. But if a weekly recording gets to be too much, like week recording for a full week in game gets to be too much, and it's too much to cut down because there's too much content. Like, I don't really know how the game gets later on. I just know how it is. It's a slice of life farm workshop sim type game, but there's also other stuff going on with real story going on. So if it gets to be too much, then I might cut that down to like half a week, like 3 days, 3 and 4, 3 days on one episode, 4 days on the next, or maybe just every 3 days or something like that. But we'll figure it out. I'm figuring it out as I go, and it's going to be interesting because I've never done a post VO series, and so I have to figure out how to do VO on DaVinci, how to record VO on DaVinci, and then add it to the game. Which, like, I could just record on Audacity or record on. There were times actually, because OBS has different audio settings, that if I needed to record, say like I'd cut an episode in half. Like for The Long Dark, I recorded long enough to where I was able to make 2 episodes out of that recording. I would actually go back into OBS with nothing on the background and just record with the same audio settings of OBS, whatever my outro and intro would be, and then add those.
Right.
And so then I would just delete, I would add it just as an audio file, and just, it worked. It worked, but there is a way to record VO on DaVinci. I just have to figure that out.
Yeah, it shouldn't be too hard though. DaVinci, the little bit I've used it, because like I've been just dropping the audio into it and exporting it and uploading it to YouTube.
Yeah.
Like it is not user friendly compared to like Premiere or Final Cut.
I've never used Premiere or Final Cut because they're not free. It takes time to get used to, but it's not too bad once you actually get used to it.
I mean, yes, I just mean like in general, like it's kind of obtuse a lot of times, and it does not set itself up. Its default setup is not intuitive for somebody that doesn't know what they're doing. Whereas you can kind of jump into like Premiere and do the basics without much learning. Like
Mhm.
like what you're doing in Premiere, like you can do very easily, like right out the gate. But like you said, like Premiere, I think just Premiere by itself is like 25 bucks a month, and
Yeah.
DaVinci is free.
Yeah.
So,
So,
like,
you use what you got,
yeah,
and what I got is free. So I figured it out. I've gotten things to work the way I want them to work, and I am excited for my time at Porsche, but I'm also nervous for having to record the voiceover stuff.
yeah, just do yourself a favor, record it multiple times.
Yeah.
Like, are you gonna like script it, or are you just going to
Oh,
like?
it'll be scripted. It'll be scripted. It's not going to be off the cuff. Like it's because it's I'm going to edit the video, and like this is going to be like the most work I've done on videos. Like I'm going to edit it down with some B-roll and whatnot for when I'm going to leave some just like for when I'm going to have to do like some voiceovers and whatnot, and I'm going to have to like time it and cut it to where like once the B-roll starts, this is where my voiceover is, and like I might actually try to have a sort of different sound for the voiceover so that people don't think that this was all just pre-record like live recorded audio, but the audio capture of DaVinci will probably sound different in general.
It might, because and you can adjust like the levels and all in there as you're doing it. But yeah, just do yourself a favor for your own sanity and just record it in smaller chunks and record each chunks like multiple
Oh yeah.
times. This way, like, because the first like 3 or 4 times you read it, you're going to sound so robotic and unnatural.
Yeah.
But once you've read a section through a few times, it'll be more natural because you'll know what words are coming.
Yeah.
And then by doing it in chunks, you'll at least have like smaller bits to like adjust if you need to and like move around. Like you won't have to go in there and cut the audio to move it. You can just move the chunks you need.
Yeah.
I feel like that's the hardest part is like getting everything to line up correctly.
Yeah, I mean,
just off the bat, like you absolutely have to go back in and like realign some of the stuff just so that it flows correctly.
Yeah, well, that's the with DaVinci. I will have extra cuts throughout my videos just for when like so if I'm even if it's not going to cut away from the scene, but I want to add something to a specific point, like a lower third or just like a pop up of a meme or something like that, or a sound effect. If I want to add those, I will just cut I will cut that or put a cut break in there so that it just snaps right to that spot.
Right. Also, look at you using video terms lower thirds. Proud of you.
Look, I only learned it from you.
Just saying. Good job. You learned it. That's the important thing.
Yeah.
Next you'll start messing with After Effects or whatever the free option of that may be. That's where you do like things like lower thirds and motion graphics.
Yeah.
Like cool little transitions where shit flies on the screen.
I mean that's a long way from now, and if anything, that's when I'm getting paid to do this full time. Is when that shit's gonna be like that. Like when I can actually dedicate like hours a day to a single video.
And I mean, in a lot of cases, people just pay professionals to make those for them.
Yeah,
because like you do need that is a different skill set making those things.
Yeah. But just to talk one more thing about my video editing. I feel like I hate myself for what I might do, but because I never actually beat Shenmue, and I feel like I owe that to both Potato and anyone who's watching my streams, I might record myself beating Shenmue and then post it as a YouTube video.
I mean, if you want to suffer, go for it.
And that's the thing, like that's at minimum a 4 to 6 hour recording session, which then would go down to which then would hopefully go down to an hour, like who knows, or maybe multiple episodes. But like I feel like I owe it to them because I'm not gonna because what it would be is I would record my live stream image, my live stream scene, and how I would normally stream it and record that and then just cut it. Like, for instance, the work stuff. I would just cut that shit.
Right.
And just show the scenes. And anytime I'm like lost or confused or whatever, I'd pause it and go and look up a thing to figure it out. Just because, like, I feel like I owe it to him. He spent the points to get me to play the game. I never beat the game. I don't know. I'm playing with the idea, but that just means I hate myself and I want to torture myself.
Which, I mean, all sounds like you.
Yeah.
But anyway, what is on the agenda?
On the agenda is Cobb, you started playing Mega Man Battle Network as well as Marvel Midnight Suns. I played over the past 2 weeks Lego City Undercover. And Cobb, you read the Southern Reach trilogy, which is books 2 and 3. Or you read books 2 and 3 of the Southern Reach trilogy, which is
there you go.
The trilogy. Look, the way you wrote it, I'm just reading the way you wrote it, which is the trilogy that the movie Annihilation was based off of. Also, real quick, we don't have to go deep into it, but Pokemon Legends ZA?
It's just ZA.
Okay, yeah.
So the reason I didn't put it on here is that's all we got. We just got a name. There's no anything.
But Pokemon NFTs, man! Pokemon NFTs. You can now trade Pokemon NFTs and battle
Pokemon
them.
Cards?
Yeah, but now they're NFTs.
Did they actually use that term, or you just... I didn't watch the thing.
It's literally... So, they had for a while, if you bought a pack of Pokemon cards, you would get a digital... you would get a card, a code card that you could get cards on like a digital service. They are now promoting that more with what was it called? Pokemon Trading Card Game. Hold on, I sent it on the thing. Pokemon Trading Card Game Pocket, which is now just an all digital version of Pokemon Trading Card Game.
Which I did see that they were doing that. I just didn't know if in the video they had used any of the like NFT terminology.
No, but I'm making fun of it more so than anything. It's not truly NFTs because there's an actual use of these things and like you actually have access to it yourself, but it's
a gacha game.
It's a gacha game, but it is essentially an Pokemon NFT game, which I'm sure people are going to be spending big bucks for a digital Charizard and shit like that, which it's like, come on now, people. This is like, I understand Pokemon trading cards, but this is not even real. This is just not real. And so, like, when I saw that, I was like, oh man, they're trying to get an NFT game without actually saying that they're getting into the NFT game. It's neat though, because like some of them have like animated cards, and so like they have little flourishes and things like that, but it's straight up, they're just digital Pokemon cards. So to me, that's an NFT.
I mean, everything is sort of an NFT, right?
Yeah, but like this is going to be more on the line of an NFT than anything else because it's going to be sold and traded for and this and that and whatnot, and there's going to be an economy behind it in and of itself. Yeah, I hate NFTs.
Yeah, I don't mind this whole trading card thing though, because let people have fun with trading cards.
Yeah,
without having to actually buy physical trading cards.
Yeah,
but yeah,
Also, is it a trading card if you don't actually have a trading card?
I don't know. Do androids dream of electric sheep?
I mean, do androids dream?
Exactly. Read the book and find out.
Maybe. But Cobb, how's those games?
They're good. I mean, Battle Network is Battle Network. I don't know. Yeah. Have you ever played that before?
I played them back in, I think there was a GameCube version that's not part of that collection.
There was. I forget exactly what it was called. It was like Mega Man Battle Network NT or something like that.
Yeah. So I played that, and I think I played one of the original versions as well, like for the GBA or whatever.
I believe all of them were GBA. I don't think they were making them into the DS era. They made a lot of them though, and it was Mega Man Network Transmission is the GameCube one.
Yeah.
But yeah, then they made. I'm trying to. Why isn't there a list of them? Come on now, Battle Network.
It's like 6 of them. There's like 6 of them.
Yeah, so there was Network 2, Network 3, and then there were the ones that they like started splitting them, where it was like white and red and stuff like that.
Yeah, well, I think wasn't one of them actually red and blue because it's supposed to be Mega Man and Proto Man?
It may have been. I haven't dug into any of the later ones yet in the collection. I just started Battle Network 1, and it's like a card. Honestly, I played a lot of card battling games this week. It's like a card battling game on a grid, but you can freely move as you're playing.
Yeah.
So for anyone not familiar with the Mega Man Battle Network games, they're more RPG than platformer, and you play the role of both a kid named Lan, or Lon, however you want to say it, who...
It's Lan.
Yeah. He's in like 5th grade or something like that and wears rollerblades everywhere. Very early 2000s. And it's in the near future. He's got like basically an AI on his wrist, and that is Mega Man in this game. All of his friends have different AIs. One kid in the class has Gutsman, and he's like one of the first kind of free battles you can do is you can challenge him to a battle. And when you're in a battle, it's 2 sets of grids. I want to say they're 1, 2, 3. It's like 4x4 squares. And each side has that many. And there are different ability cards that you get. Some of them are attacks. Some of them are healing. Some of them are like special summons of other characters. And some of them actually do things like add to defense or takes... you can actually take an entire row away from the enemy, or just breaks like certain spots on their side of the field. So like there's definitely strategy to it, because like you have weapons that are just like the energy blades, but you have to be one space away from the enemy to use that. So if you have like a stationary enemy or an enemy that only moves on the 2nd or 3rd or 4th row, the only way to use a sword against them is if you have one of the cards that will steal rows from them, so that your area then becomes larger and theirs becomes smaller. And all of the cards are organized by letter. And so the way they work it is you can load 2 of the same card per turn, or you can load, not just 2, you can load multiple of the same type of card per turn, or multiple of the same letter. So if you have like the cannon card and you have like, it's A, B, and C, let's say, and you have 3 of them, because they're all the cannon, you can load all 3 of them. If, say, you have 3 cards that are all the S, though, but they're 3 different cards, you can still load all of them. And in that case, that's where like the strategy level of it would come in, where, like I was saying with the sword, say 2 swords and 1 is to steal a row. You'd want to put the steal row first. This way you get the row from the enemy, and then can move up to them with the sword and attack.
Yeah.
So it's kind of cool. And between battles, you're either running around in the cyber world as Mega Man, because you can jack into almost anything. One of the first like major missions is you jack into your oven at home because it has caught fire. And the only way to put out the fire is to send your fucking AI into the oven to fucking delete the virus that set it on fire.
Yeah. That's so in this game world, everything is connected to the internet. Literally everything. And so there's like cyber terrorist groups or whatever that will just like hack into everyday appliances. And so they call them you're fighting the viruses that are from these cyber terrorist groups that have hacked into things.
Yep, and that's there's a whole thing where you're encouraged, even as a child, to like battle the viruses to obtain new cards and abilities, and like that is a plot point in the game of like you're not necessarily as a child supposed to be like fighting the evildoers. You're just supposed to be like getting rid of like minor computer viruses, like as part of your education.
Yeah.
But yeah, so and. It's not that everything is necessarily on the internet. It's everything has some sort of AI drive behind it. So in the case of the oven in the game, somebody actually comes to your house, claims to be the oven repairman, and is there to update the firmware so that that your oven doesn't catch on fire like all the other ones have been doing. And your mother's an idiot and falls for it.
Yeah.
And then she panics, and it's up to her 10-year-old, 9-year-old
probably
to figure this out, including at one point the fire gets too bad, so you run up into your bedroom and get a squirt gun, and you use the squirt gun on the actual fire to make it a little less fire so that Mega Man can continue battling the viruses and get to the bottom of things. It's It's so dumb, but it's fun. Like I enjoy the battle gameplay. It's got just enough strategy without being like a Fire Emblem or like a Midnight Suns that you kind of do have to stop and really think. If you fuck up in one of these on like one of your turns here, it doesn't ruin the game for you. You can definitely like straighten things out generally. The only trouble I had was it the second boss? I think it was the second boss. So the second area that I've gotten to is your school gets locked down by a substitute teacher who not only is he a bad teacher, he takes your actual teacher, ties her up and hides her in a storage room. And somehow doesn't get arrested at the end of this. Literally, you, the fifth grader, just say, hey, that wasn't nice. You should just ask to trade next time instead of trying to be a jerk.
You know what? Boys will be boys, okay?
Yeah. But battling his AI at the end of that whole section was a little more challenging than some of the other like bigger fights up to that point. But a lot of it just came down to I just didn't have a good loadout of cards at the time. So I had kind of left it default and just sort of added in a couple ones here and there. But I was just getting terrible pulls for what I could use. And the enemy, I want to say it was the second phase of the enemy, became very... you had to be more reactionary than actually being able to attack him. Because he had abilities that would drop like a bomb on your side. And if you didn't destroy the bomb before it went off, it would just send a shockwave across all of the squares, and there was no way to avoid it.
Yeah.
So there were quite a few times where I would just get hit with like 30 damage, and 2 or 3 of those, and you're dead. So I had to go in and like reorganize my cards and sort of drop some of the less effective stuff. Like honestly, heals. Like I had too many heals at that point. And too many close range attacks, or not even just close range, things that were slow, like the bombs. Like you get like basically grenades. They're great; they do a ton of damage, but they're slow, so they're really only good for enemies that have an easy to recognize pattern. Like the classic little Mega Man enemies. I forget what they're called, with the little helmets that like duck down and your shots just bounce off of them. So you got to get them when they're like popped up a little bit.
Yeah.
Those guys, like, they move in a very determined pattern. They just go back and forth, and they pause whenever they hit the same tile as you. So it's super easy to, like, take one of them out with a bomb. But some of these bosses are just all over the place constantly. Like, you can't, like, do a thing where you're lobbing it over to them and hope to actually hit them. But overall, like, it's fun to go back and see this game after 22, 23 years. Like, I have at least... I want to say I have the first 3 Battle Network games on GBA still, but I definitely haven't played them since the early 2000s.
Yeah.
I think the last one I actually played may have been the first one that they split into colors and stuff, which wasn't 2, was it 3? Yep, 3. So the last one I have is 3, which was a blue version and a white version. I think I have the blue version. But anyway, Battle Network, it's fun. I don't know if it's still going on at the moment, but there was I guess it was technically a Capcom labeled bundle, but it was a Mega Man bundle over at Humble Bundle. That was all of the Legacy collection. So it was Legacy 1, Legacy 2, so like the original 10 Mega Man games.
Yeah.
The 2 Mega Man Legacy X collections, Mega Man 11, like standalone, because that's not in either of those collections. The ZX collection, I think it is.
Yeah.
And then it had coupons for 2 other things. One of them was for the Battle Network games. It was half off of the dual pack. So it made the $60 game $30, which for that many games and for how long I knew those games were, I'm like, $30 is cool. Like, I will pay $30 for these games. I've actually wanted to get these ones in particular for a while. And then the other coupon I didn't use, it was for like, it's a Mega Man mobile game that was then ported to like consoles and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's X Dive.
Yeah, that one. And
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm okay. I don't need to get that one. But like it was a great deal for the Humble Bundle. Like because while I know you do not like the Mega Man X games, I do have a fondness for some of them.
I never
And
said I don't like the Mega Man X games.
I thought you didn't like the majority of the X games.
I mean, no. It was the last 3.
Was it only the last 3?
Yeah, anything from PlayStation and beyond fucking sucked.
For some reason,
maybe even just the last 2.
For some reason, I thought that like you enjoyed most of the original Mega Man games for like what they were, but I realized at the same time like those are just not your style of game a lot of times. But for some reason I thought that like the Mega Man X games you had just not been a huge fan of.
No, it was everything. So it was everything in Legacy Collection, Mega Man X Legacy Collection 2 is really what was bad. And that was X5, 6, 7, and 8. But I think X5 was good.
Didn't you not finish one? Was it the last one or was it just 7?
It was definitely X8. I couldn't get 2 levels into it. X6 I could not beat.
Okay.
Because it was just I don't know if it was level of difficulty was just incredibly hard, but it was also one of the bosses, their weaknesses sucked. So like his power to kill the boss sucked, and if you attacked him with anything other than his weakness, he would duplicate and triplicate and quadruplicate himself over and over and over.
Oh, that's fun.
It sucked. It was horrible, and so he was the last robot master I had to defeat, and I'm like, guys, I can't do this. This sucks. This is not fun. X7 I was able to get through. And that was the first one that was on the PlayStation. And then X8, I played like 2 levels, and it was just hot garbage.
Maybe it was just like you had such bad experiences with the 2 of them that in my head I was just remembering you not really jiving with the X games in general.
X5 should have ended the series. 100% X5 should have ended the series. And everyone in the world agrees with that. X5 is if we had our choice, X5 is the end of the Mega Man X series, because that was the original ending of the Mega Man X series. Once X5 ended, whoever it was that wrote the Mega Man X games, he was like, this is done. Like, he was done. And I think they got somebody else to do the rest or something like that. Like,
okay.
Don't 100% quote. It's something like that. You can't quote me on that 100%. But I do remember, like, whoever wrote or directed or whatever Mega Man X series was done at X5. And then kind of like with Jurassic Park The Lost World, was forced to make another one because X5 did so good.
Which, that's a bummer. But
yeah.
Yeah, I don't know that I've ever actually played the later games more than, like, kind of just dabbled a little bit. It's the early Mega Man X games that I do have, like, a fondness for, and well as like the first 4 Mega Man games. 2 and 3 are my favorite. Like, when we've been over that before. Like, I just think 2 and 3 are the best of the Mega Mans. But like, those are just good games. Like, they're fun. They can be super frustrating, but they're good. Yeah. So like, why not get a collection of them, right?
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. Like it that bundle is not on Humble Bundle anymore.
That's a bummer
at the moment. So yeah, but I already had them all. The only games I don't have are X Dive and the BattleNet games.
Oh, I didn't realize. For some reason, I thought you didn't have the ZX games either.
And I do. I haven't played them yet. They're good. They're on the docket for this year, but because this year has been so packed with RPGs so far,
I mean, the last 2 years.
The last year, the last 6 months, almost a year at this point.
I was going to say you've been playing RPGs since this time last year.
I think when did I start playing Tales of Arise? That's a good question.
Like this time last year.
But like pretty much since Tales of Arise, I've been playing mostly RPGs. So it's been hard to be able to play outside of the main game I'm playing, which is why like I also haven't done the co-op Tuesdays in a long time.
For some reason I thought you just like had like run out of games that you and the one guy you play with like were both like into at the moment.
No, I mean we would have kept playing whatever we could have found. Let's see. The last Star Ocean stream was uploaded to YouTube 6 months ago. So yeah, we're looking at, let's see, Tales of Arise Part 11 was 9 months ago. So yeah, almost a year ago. With because before Tales of Arise, I did do Jedi Fallen Order.
Oh, that's right. I'm trying to look because I know for a fact that the last time I played Tales of Arise, you were a little past me. So if I just look at my Steam thing to see the last time I used it, it would tell me when you kind of started.
But also, there was a while that I was waiting a month before uploading because I was waiting until it was coming off Twitch before I uploaded it onto YouTube.
Right.
So
I last played Tales of Arise on March 12th of last year, which means you would have started probably this week or next week, like this time last year, like the last week of February, first week of March. Like that's when you would have started streaming it.
Probably.
Because you started Tales of Arise like at least a week or two before I did. So damn, congratulations on a year of RPGs. You are an RPG streamer.
Last played March 7th, 2023. March 27th, 2023. So we are a month away from when I last played Tales of Arise.
And it probably took you about a month of streams to get through it.
11 streams minimum. Let's see. Let me find it.
Were you doing them once a week at that point?
I don't remember. Potentially. Part 9. Tales of Arise live stream part 9, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11 streams. And when was this? Let's see. Because I know I updated when it was. I posted when it was. I get energy for children want to play. Nope, I didn't write when this was a live stream from.
Whoops.
But that was uploaded on May 23rd, 2023. So it was 2 months.
Yeah, you definitely started the game sometime around now last year.
Yeah.
So,
which is funny because I did add Hi-Fi Rush stream highlights, but I don't know if I ever uploaded my Hi-Fi Rush gameplay.
Yeah, that's actually kind of fun.
No, I think I played that live on YouTube as well. Let's see, because that's under a different set of videos. Like your live streams are under a different set of videos than your just regular posted videos.
Okay.
No, because Final Fantasy 16 was what I started. Is when I started YouTube.
Damn, nice. Well, I'm going to move along and talk about Marvel's Midnight Suns now.
Yeah.
So we were talking either before we recorded or just after. The game's just on like a really good sale right now.
Yeah, it's like it's $14.99, so $15 on Steam right now.
Yeah. So I picked it up because of that sale. Because it's a game I wanted to play for a while. Even though it didn't get a ton of it didn't do well commercially, it did review fairly well. And I thought it looked neat, like a strategy game with it's particularly with the supernatural side of the Marvel heroes.
Yeah, it's like an XCOM crossed with Marvel superheroes, but it's all the supernatural ones like Blade and what's her name? She
Scarlet
just had
Witch?
Well, yeah, I guess Scarlet Witch, but I was thinking, what's her name that just had the black and white show go on Disney Plus recently?
The black and white show on Disney Plus?
She had there was a special.
Werewolf? The Werewolf Within? Or
yeah.
No, I'm sorry, Werewolf by Night.
Yeah, Werewolf by Night. Did you ever watch that?
Oh, no, I didn't. You're talking about Eliza Bloodstone.
Yes.
I don't know if she's in this yet. I haven't gotten her, if she is.
I would assume she is.
So when the game starts out, you have Iron Man, Doctor Strange, Captain Marvel, Blade, Robbie Reyes, Ghost Rider, Nico from the Runaways. Scarlet Witch is there, but she's not playable. And then after the tutorial mission where you're Doctor Strange, Iron Man, and Captain Marvel, you actually do a create a character.
Mm-hmm.
So you're technically you have your own avatar. So you are not playing as any of the Marvel heroes. They're just around.
Yeah.
Kind of like the Avengers game where you were Miss Marvel, for the story, really. The story was really from her POV, even when you were playing other people.
Mm-hmm.
But it's got, and so I've never played an XCOM game, so I've seen them, but I can't say everything about them. But it's got that mixture of when you're on a mission, it's that strategy-based, turn-based combat. Between missions, you're at this secret safe house in a pocket dimension, and you just run around and you can talk to all the heroes that are there at that point.
Yeah.
And like you do the whole like forming bonds and stuff with them and leveling that stuff up. Your player character is the daughter of Lilith, though, or son of Lilith. I just hit random and it gave me the female one. And they were dead, but have been resurrected to fight off their parent again. And it's neat so far. They just to talk about the characters for a minute. They're using a lot of good voice cast for it. Like Spider-Man popped up for at least a minute so far. And he's voiced by Yuri Lowenthal.
Mm-hmm.
Like he swings in, he starts talking. I'm like, that sounds really familiar. Like that sounds just like the Spider-Man games. And I looked it up, and yeah, it was Yuri doing the voice of Spider-Man. And then Nico, who is a do you know the Runaways at all?
No.
So they're like a small group of Marvel heroes. They're runaways. They found out their parents were villains and ran away. Some of them have powers. Some of them are just kind of like smart and like build like things to make them useful. Nico is like a witch. Her power, the way her power works, and I don't know that they're going to do it in the game, is she basically has to bleed to summon her magic staff to then cast spells, which is pretty fucking dark. But she can only cast a spell once. So she has to figure out different ways to cast like the same spell. So she can just say like heal if you're injured, but she can never just say heal again. She has to say like cure after that and like find like different ways, different languages, stuff like that. So like her powers are actually kind of interesting. Mm-hmm. But she is in it, and she is voiced by the actress that played that character on the Hulu series.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah, and then do you remember late 2000s there was that spectacular Spider-Man show?
Not really.
That's right.
No.
I want to say it was like a Disney show at that point, maybe. Mm-hmm. But the guy who voiced Spider-Man in that is voicing Tony Stark in this. And then I know I saw like Laura Bailey's doing a voice. What is her name? Jennifer something. She's the female and a whole bunch of other people.
I don't know. I don't know her name. I don't know a lot. I honestly don't know a lot of voice actors.
Well, that's silly.
Why
I think Matt Mercer might be the male Avatar voice, maybe. Anyway, like just they did a good job with the voice casts and like using people that have like played the roles before, essentially. But the gameplay is XCOM-esque, I guess is the best way to put it. You get dropped onto a map. There are a certain number of enemies there. There are environmental hazards that you can use to your benefit, but that can also be used against you. Depending on the fight, there may be ads after each round. So the goal, especially like against like a larger boss enemy, the goal seems to be keep damaging the enemy, like the boss, but try and wipe out all of the other people around so that they don't have a chance to attack between rounds, because more of them are just going to show up the next round. So there's like a little bit of a juggling act and figuring out what abilities you can use. And now all your attacks are card based. So at the beginning of the turn, you get 5 random cards based on the 3 or 4 characters that you have at that point. An early game, you have very few cards, so there's not a whole lot of, variety to them. But generally, you have just basic attack cards. You have heroic move cards, which require hero points that you get from using the basic attack cards. And then you have skill cards. Some of them will like heal your allies, shield your allies, give like attack boosts and stuff like that to yourself. Like your normal kind of like red mage sort of things.
Yeah.
Or no, that's not a red mage, is it? Is red mage time mage?
No, that's green.
Green is time. It's been a long time since I played a game that had that the colors.
Blue is I think you're thinking blue. Blue is supposed to be a mix between magic and attack and fighting, I believe.
Okay, well I was thinking more, I guess Bard would be the better thing. Like the skills are more like buffs and things like that versus anything to the enemy. At least so far, I'm sure at some point I will get skill cards that do something to the enemy. Weaken them, poison them, stun them, who knows?
Yeah.
But yeah, so you kind of have to juggle that stuff, and at the same time you have a limited number of card uses per turn. So even though you have 5 cards, you don't necessarily have 5 cards. You can't necessarily play all 5 cards. You can also only move one character one time to, say, line them up for like one of their attacks. Because some of the attacks might have like knockback damage. So if you line it up right, maybe you can knock them into like an electrical box to do extra damage, or knock them into another enemy to damage that enemy as well. But you have to make sure that you're positioned correctly to actually aim that attack. So you have to like look at all your cards, see what you can do, and plan which one you're going to move around. Your other characters will just move based on what the types of attacks they do. So they'll attack and then they'll just land where they land, essentially. And then you can also reshuffle one card 2 times. So you can pick throughout the round, you can take 2 cards that are in your hand and shuffle them back into the deck and get 2 new ones. So if you have like 2 cards that are just healing and you don't need to heal it that turn, it might be worth reshuffling one of them to get an attack card to at least do one more attack before your turn's over.
Yeah.
And the one nice thing is, even though you have a limited number of attack turns per se, if there are environmental things that you can use to damage an enemy, those don't cost those points. Like if there's like a brick you can pick up and throw at an enemy in range, you can just do that whenever. You just click on the brick, point at the enemy in range, and you throw the brick at them.
Yeah.
It's just your actual abilities that come down to, do you actually have the energy essentially to do it? Trying to think what else in the combat kind of stands out. I mean, so far that's kind of it. Like the heroic moves are just how they sound. Like they do kind of cool stuff. Blades is probably the best one, because at least the one fight I had with Blade where he got to use it was actually against like a possessed Venom, and he both did a ton of damage and healed himself every time. Nice. Which was great. Yeah, because it was some sort of like vampire attack. Like I think it was actually called Stake'em, like Stake. So I'm not sure why it heals you too, but it does, and that was helpful because Venom did do a lot of damage. Unfortunately, Venom also tended to attack the same character every fucking time, and had some abilities that just rooted them in place. So you then had to figure out a way to have an attack that would attack both Venom and your character to free them. Which, luckily, there's a decent amount of abilities and cards and stuff that have like secondary targeting or something like that. Where in a perfect world, I would have been able to use that second attack to attack one of the other enemies on the field. In this case, I use it to attack my own teammate to free them, and then assuming they have any attack cards available, I can then just use them to attack one of the ads.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, so far, like I want to say I'm like 3 missions in or so, not including the tutorial, and it's been neat. Like I like the story. I like what characters I have so far. I'm looking forward to get more because like I know. Oh, I'm sorry, Magic is also part of the initial group from the X-Men with the sword. But I know like Wolverine's in the game. Just he was on the cover of the game. I feel like maybe X-23 is in it too.
I went through a little bit of their IMDb, and I can't remember a lot of the people that were on. Doctor Strange, which I think you already mentioned. Hulk and Banner.
They've referenced Hulk so far, but they have not. They have not given me Hulk yet.
I didn't see, at least on IMDb, an Elsa Bloodstone, but maybe. Look, she was in Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3, so I had a feeling she might be in this.
Oh, I did not know that.
Yeah, she showed up in that, which it was like holy crap, who the heck is this character?
So I'm looking actually on Wikipedia real quick. So it's Blade, Captain America, Captain Marvel, Doctor Strange, Ghost Rider, which right now it's the Robbie Reyes Ghost Rider. I did see Johnny Blaze Ghost Rider is in the beginning of the game. Like Doctor Strange goes to him at the beginning and he basically tells you to fuck off. So I don't know if he'll pop back up and be playable or if he's just gonna maybe pop up as like a little cameo later. But
was it Nick Cage? Did they use Nick Cage?
No, it was actually an old Johnny Blaze. Like he had long gray hair, a big gray beard, and
oh shit.
Yeah.
It's not my Knight Rider.
You mean Ghost Rider?
Ghost Rider, yeah. Knight Rider's a different series entirely that I've never watched, but just remember.
You've never watched Knight Rider?
No.
Man, you're missing out.
I was young.
I mean, I never saw it when it was actually on. Though I do remember watching like the movies they did years later, like the made-for-TV movies.
Mm-hmm.
Man. But yeah, so Ghost Rider, Hulk, like you said, the Hunter, which is your character that you create, Iron Man, Magic, Nico, Scarlet Witch, Spider-Man, and Wolverine. And then they released 4 DLC characters that are Deadpool, Morbius, Storm, and Venom.
Morbin time.
Yeah. And actually, it's funny so I just noticed the Deadpool is voiced by Nolan North, who voiced him in that Deadpool game from, was that PS3?
That was a great game. That was a great game, man.
Oh, and Steve Bloom does Wolverine.
Yeah.
Who else? Yeah, and then Laura Bailey was Magic. Erica Lindbeck, who is in Final Fantasy VII Remake, she was the girl that had the thing for Cloud. Jessie.
Mm-hmm.
She's Captain Marvel. Matt Mercer is one of the Hunters. Yuri Lowenthal is as Spider-Man. I don't recognize any of these other names on the top of my head. But yeah, it's been cool so far. I'm looking forward to see kind of where the story goes for it.
Nice.
Yeah, the only real complaint I have is that, like, the missions can drag a little bit, especially when it came to like the boss fight, because every round they bring in more ads. So it just becomes kind of like, great. So instead of being able to focus on Venom, I have to focus on these guys first to keep it reasonable. And a lot of your abilities just do jack shit to Venom. So it's not until like I started getting those blade cards that were actually strong that I was really doing damage to Venom.
Yeah. I mean, it's a tactical game. I'm sure I bet you there was like something else they wanted you to do with that to make it a little bit more manageable.
I mean, it's possible. It's also one of the earlier missions in the game. Like I would say Venom is the first like real boss that you fight. Like you definitely have some stuff with like, let's call them mini bosses.
Mm-hmm.
But he's probably the first like big one you fight. So I feel like it's also still a little tutorial-y. Like they're telling you like, hey, when an enemy does something like this, you have to be careful and not attack them because they're just going to hurt you instead.
Yeah.
And like, hey, your character has been constrained, so you have to attack them to free them. But overall, like I'm having a good time. I'm actually seeing the DLC characters. I might check and see how much the DLC is for it. Since the game was so cheap, if the DLC is cheap enough, I might grab it just to get those characters.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm enjoying it, and we'll keep playing it.
Nice. It's definitely on my list. Oh my god, why is audio on Steam? It's on my list. I don't know when I'm gonna be able to get around to playing it, so I don't know if I'm gonna play it. Or I'm gonna get it. I just don't know when I'm gonna be able to get around to playing it, so I don't know when I'm gonna be able to talk about it. But like it looks so good. It does look so good.
Yeah, and actually I like just looking, I think the DLC is not just characters. I think it's actually like story.
Yeah.
Which that's cool. I'm not opposed to that. Man,
trying to see what the Legendary Edition if the Legendary Edition comes with the DLC, which there is a season pass. It's $16.49 on Steam. The Legendary Edition, I don't know what the Legendary Edition comes with, but it's $24.99, which I'm assuming probably comes with the DLC.
Yeah, because it looks like yes, each of the DLCs is $15, but you can do the full pack of it for, like you said, $16.
Yeah.
Which isn't bad. I might do that. Like, that is still cheaper than, like, normal. And I do enjoy the game. So I'll double check that it's actually got all of the content before I do it, though. But yeah, so that's Midnight Suns. I'm going to keep playing that. I'll probably won't talk about it too much right away. But once I get further into it, I'll circle back around to it.
Yeah, the Legendary Edition also includes the DLC. So, like, I might just get the Legendary Edition for $25.
I didn't realize there was actual DLC. I thought I just kind of saw those. I'm like, oh, they're probably just like digital art books and shit like that, because that seems to be what a lot of that stuff is anymore.
Yeah.
Because I didn't even know they did DLC for this game. I know it didn't sell well. Like, it reviewed well, and then it was kind of a commercial flop.
I don't remember hearing a lot about it after it released, but except for that it was good.
And that's the thing. Like, it reviewed super well. Like, looking at like the Wikipedia, Metacritic, it's got an 83 on PC, an 81 on PS5, and an 81 on Xbox. And like the lowest score it has is Destructoid gave it a 7.5 out of 10.
Mm-hmm.
GameSpot gave it an 8 out of 10. IGN gave it an 8 out of 10. PC Games N gave it 9 out of 10. Video Game Chronicle gave it 5 stars. Like, people liked it. It underperformed sales wise. And I think it's because people were not expecting it to be good for one reason or another. And there's a burnout on those games, like, or on that stuff in general.
Yeah, on superheroes.
And with,
I mean, look, both of us wanted the game and neither of us got it.
Yeah.
But it also, when did it release? 2 years ago, and I think 2022 was a very busy year for games.
Yeah, and I mean, it released the end of 2022 in December, and that was shortly after I think they announced that the Avengers was canceled or like ending or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So like people were already like, "Cool, we're not going to put money into games that you're not supporting."
Yeah,
but yeah, it's cool and like definitely worth checking it out. Especially if you like that tactical sort of gameplay.
Yeah.
But Rich, how have you enjoyed Lego City Undercover?
Let me tell you about Lego City Undercover. You ever want to play Grand Theft Auto, but
not really,
but Lego?
I mean, honestly, that seems slightly more appealing.
Exactly. Do you ever want to make it to where that Grand Theft Auto but Lego is chock full of 70s and 80s or 80s and 90s cop movie references?
I don't know.
And did you ever want to play this 80s and 90s cop movie reference Lego GTA game where basically if you just put up your badge while you're undercover, blow your whistle and say it's an emergency, you can legally steal any car?
I mean, you can legally steal any car in Grand Theft Auto if you know the cheat code.
But yeah, this game was great. I had a lot of fun playing it. Unfortunately, due to primarily time constraints set by myself, I wasn't focusing on doing everything and 100%ing it. Honestly, once I beat the game, I really had no push or urge to 100% it because it's a normal Lego game where there's a bunch of stuff to get while playing it, but it's an open world or open city, I guess, Lego game. So you go. It's like GTA. You go to different mission points. They run you through a story, and it's overall like just fun and silly, and it's like got that Lego humor. And you've played like the Lego Star Wars games. It's got an extra
play a bunch of Lego games.
Yeah, like you know how it is. It's got that extra set of humor and an extra set of comedy to it that makes it Lego. At one point, you meet. I can't remember what their names are, but they're supposed to be Starsky and Hutch. At another point, you meet a character who's basically supposed to be Arnold Schwarzenegger, but not. And
that's kind of funny.
This game, the thing about this game, like most of the Lego games are IP games. Like they're Lego, they're Jurassic Park, they're Harry Potter, they're Marvel. I think there's a Harry Potter one. I don't know. This is in and of itself its own thing. And they were basically given creative freedom to make whatever they wanted. And they made this. And it was fantastic. It was like endearing, it was silly, it was fun. You can kind of argue that's maybe a little Metroidvania style because like you go through levels where you can't complete certain things until you get the upgrades in later levels and then go back to get those things. But like the gameplay itself is generic Lego game gameplay where it's either 2D or it's either like side scroller at certain points, but it's like it's that open world, so it's 3D, it's behind the back or side scroller or whatever. It's a bad camera because all Lego games have bad cameras. And you play through just the story of Chase McCain, the cop who was sent away from the city for doing something bad, which you don't really get told what he did. There's no prequel to this game. There's no like pre-story to this game. It just brings you in and you're this ne'er-do-well cop who was called back to the city to stop the guy you previously stopped.
Okay.
As far as I know, there's nothing before Lego City Undercover.
I don't think there is.
and which is great because it's like, oh, you're the only one who can stop. The villain's name is Rex Fury. It's like you're the only one who can stop Rex Fury, just like you did before. And then there's a character named Natalia who is upset with Chase McCain because of what he did before. And it's like, what the fuck did I do before? And like they explain it at one point later on in the game, but it's just like it's so good because like that just fills that void, that not void, but it fills that like that cop movie humor style of like that bad cop who's great at his job but doesn't listen to rules and doesn't pay attention. And the police chief who doesn't like what he does, even though he can see that you get results. And so he tries to punish you, but not too much because he knows you get results. And it's just, it's fun. It's silly. The world is huge.
Yeah, I didn't realize how old it was. 2013.
Yeah, but I think the version on Steam is like 2016. I think they up-resed it at one point or another.
Looks like maybe 2017. So Wii U was 2013, other versions 2017.
Yeah.
Also, there is a prequel.
Is there?
Yeah, Lego City Undercover: The Chase Begins for the Nintendo 3DS.
Oh, see, I'm not playing that.
It is 2 years before the events of Lego City Undercover.
Okay, so yeah, if you knew that, or it's 2 years before the events, but it came out when?
A month after. So.
Okay.
Vaguely remembering this, while I was listening to you, I was vaguely like scanning the Wikipedia for it. Yeah. So I remember this game was originally announced as Lego City Stories, and it was going to be just a Wii U and 3DS game, like kind of like they did for like Mario Maker and other stuff, where it was just the same game on both platforms.
Yeah.
But then like a year or two later, when it was like fully like revealed, the Wii U version became Lego City Undercover. And then the 3DS version became a prequel, Lego City Undercover: The Chase Begins.
Yeah.
And they released about a month apart.
Get it? The Chase, because the character's name is Chase McCain.
It's got a double meaning.
Yeah. But yeah, overall the game was fun. You run around the city.
Wait, does he have a grappling gun?
You do get a grappling gun.
I just noticed it on the cover of the box art.
Yeah, so what it is as you play through the game, you unlock different costumes. Because you're an undercover cop, so you unlock different costumes. The first costume you happen to unlock is a robber, like a thief costume. It's like the generic, like black and white or black and gray striped shirt with a beanie and a mask over your eyes, kind of like robber thief guy and he has abilities that like he can use a crowbar to break in doors. And he can use a stethoscope to open a safe. And later on, he gets a gun to change colors of like different things that you can shoot that you find, like called the color changer gun. You can change colors of things, which is used for different puzzles. Or you get a spaceman who has the ability to work with any space things that you see lying around. And when you use that, one of them teleports. The other one is like a Simon Says game where it'll have 4 different colors. You have to hit them in the right order that it shows you. This one is great. You get it pretty late in the game too. It's a farmer, which one of its abilities is to like use is to water crops and plants to have them grow so that you can climb up things to make vines.
Okay.
If you double jump, you pull out a chicken. And you float down like Link does.
Nice.
And your generic attack, if there's nothing near you. So in this game, if you're near something that you can punch to break, you'll punch to break it. But if there's nothing near you to punch to break, like if you're basic cop Chase, he has his grappling hook. If you're the robber, he has his color changing gun. If you're the firefighter, he shoots like his water out of his water canister. The farmer shoots an egg out of the chicken's ass.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah. Which, if you hit somebody with that egg, it stuns them. The combat is very basic. It's either you walk up to an enemy and it's a one button press generally. Like it's not like Lego Star Wars where you're constantly hitting the button to swing it around and hit them and take down their health.
Okay.
It's like if you walk up to an enemy and they're not attacking and you hit the attack button, he will do an attack and he'll throw them. And then you have to handcuff them. Or if they're attacking you, you hit Y, he'll dodge them and knock them away and knock them down, and then you have to go over and handcuff them with B. Or if you grab them and then throw them, you can knock them down, and then you have to handcuff them. And the whole combat is very simple of just dodging or attacking and handcuffing them. And then once you have all but one handcuffed, whether that one was knocked down or not, they'll stand up and you have to knock them out. And then that's the end of combat. It's very easy, very simple. And you can get bonuses or you can get multipliers for taking out enemies without taking hits, and those multipliers will give you more rivets at the end of the fight, so that you can get more points and buy more things. I'm trying to think. You get super blocks that you can build different things around the city. So you could build like a Ferris wheel or a merry-go-round or ramps to jump your cars over, or just different like fountains and different other sceneries in the game. You can even use the things you build to give you whatever you need to solve puzzles to get other super bricks and things like that. Because like there's silver pieces that can only be broken by dynamite, so you need to be able to build something that can give you dynamite to get the dynamite, to blow up the silver pieces, to get more super bricks, to build more big things. You, as you travel throughout the city, there's pads that you can build carports, and you can call in different cars that you collect while playing the game. When you unlock to unlock fast travel, you actually have to find it, break it, and then rebuild it, and it'll rebuild it into a train ticket booth. And so then you can use that train station.
So it's got that like that standard Lego thing. Like you break a bunch of stuff and it gives you like little piles to then build into like the thing you actually need it to be.
Yeah, it's very very Lego gameplay. But like and I can't really say saves us because the Lego gameplay is fine. What really makes this game is the humor and the comedy and the story itself. It's just ridiculous and over the top. There's a lot to do though in this game. I beat it. I beat the story, and I'm only about 30% completion. But that was me just doing the story, because in basic Lego fashion, there are things in different levels that you can't unlock until you get abilities that you get later on in the game. So I'm like, let me just beat the game, and then I'll go back to stuff. But after I beat it, I was just like, I don't really feel like going back to this. Not right now, at least. So I didn't go back to it and didn't do any of the extra stuff. I like the credits rolled. I'm hoping there's no like post-credits stuff to do or anything like that. Like I watched the credits roll and the game end and everything else. And then it was just like, all right, go do your thing now. So I'm hoping I didn't miss anything by not really going back into the game, but it's a fun game. I enjoyed it, and I bought it. It was like $5 because it was on a super sale. I don't think the sale's still going on for that one anymore, but it was like super cheap on Steam.
I feel like that's one of those games that actually does go on sale, like not uncommonly.
Yeah, I mean it's $20 naturally, so like even I think $20 is worth it. I would not have been upset if I spent $20 on this game.
It's awesome. I mean it does have very positive reviews.
Yeah, it's got it is there. Like I had a bunch of people come into my stream while I was playing and be like, "This is my favorite Lego game. I love this game. I have such nostalgia for this game. This game is fantastic. It's absolutely ridiculous. It's hilarious, and this and that, and blah blah blah." And I'm like, "This game is great. This game is absolutely great." And I'm realizing now that like part of the ending of the game and why I can't fully remember how it fully wrapped up is it might have been a little high when I beat the game. So I recently started going to I went to the dispensary for the first time myself, and I got edibles to do while on stream if somebody redeems a reward. Yes. And somebody redeemed it, and it was a long stream that I did. I think I started at 5, and they redeemed it at like maybe like 6:30 or something like that. And it started to hit near the end. It started to hit really bad around 8 o'clock. And I was just like, there was a lot of times where I was like, this is taking forever. This level is so long. Oh my god, this is such a long level. So like, I might be a slight misremembering some of the things, but I did get the credits. I did beat the like roll credits, and I did beat the game. But I am just like, I'm thinking like, why don't I remember what they do after you beat the game? Like, I don't remember if they like load you into the game or not, or load you into the world, or if they said there was anything else to uncover. I can't remember that, but it was like by the time I beat it, I think it was 9:30, and I was just like, I gotta call it now, guys, because I was getting paranoid at the time because one gummy got me so bad, and I'm like, all right, next time if I do this, half a gummy.
Yeah, you gotta work yourself up to it.
Yeah, well, I mean, look, the other one, the gummies that your wife bought me a couple weeks ago when we did Jurassic Park, when I take those, they knock me out. They literally just put me to sleep.
Well, that's because that's what she buys.
Yeah, if I buy one, it puts me to sleep. And so, like, I took one during a stream once, and I was just yawning the entire time. So I had to be like, all right, I gotta get something else. So it was Friday last week. I went there and I got one of their little Mio type liquid THC things, and I got a container of gummies. And I talked to the guy, and he told me what to get or what I should get, and I got it. And yeah, I was like, the other ones are 10. They should, and they don't really. I don't freak out, or I don't know, get anxious or paranoid or anything when I take those. So one full gummy should be fine. I mean, it's only 10 milligrams. It's not that much.
Yeah, and there's a difference because like Erica, the one that Erica gets is, I want to say she gets indica.
Yeah, indica, and this,
you either got a hybrid or sativa.
I got a sativa. He said that sativa shouldn't mess with anxiety too much.
So it does for Erica. That's why she doesn't get those.
Yeah.
Like it's not that it wires her. Like it actually just it screws with her anxiety. So she gets the indicas, which make her tired.
Yeah, and that's what I don't want to fall asleep. Like it knocks me out. There was an instance, I think at some point within the past 2 weeks, that like I was just relaxing. I'm like, you know what, fuck it, why not? And I take the one of the gummies, and I fall asleep on the couch at 7:00, and I wake up at midnight, and I couldn't get back to sleep.
Nice.
That's
exactly what you want to happen.
I might have taken another gummy
just to get back to sleep.
Just to get back to sleep. So I was like, this is like, I can't. I'm fully slept. Like I slept. I got 4 hours of sleep. I'm not ready to go back to sleep. But yeah, Lego City Undercover though, it's great, and it's the fact that if you're a cop and you just blow your whistle and say this is an emergency, you can legally steal any car.
I might add that to like some wish lists and keep an eye for a sale.
Keep an eye out for a sale. Like I said, it was like under $5 when I bought it.
I assume it is Steam Deck verified. Let's find out.
It's gotta be. It's gotta be
Steam Deck verified. You never know. Yeah. Add it to the wish list.
It's a super fun game.
I've always had a good time with those Lego games. It's just like you said before. A lot of the licensed ones, they get a little repetitive after a while.
Yeah,
it's the same thing over and over again.
Yeah, and it's like they have 6 different versions of Lego Star Wars. Like,
yeah,
exactly. The original Lego Star Wars, and then they have Lego Star Wars, the original trilogy, and then now they have like the Skywalker saga, and then they have this and that and everything. I'm like, it's all the same game, but just a little slightly different. But like I've only ever played the original Lego Star Wars. If I were to go back to the Skywalker saga or like the newer stuff that they released, it would be new to me. But in the end, it's still going to be the Lego gameplay, which is kind of generic.
And I will say that I preferred those games before they added voice acting. Yeah. I think when it was just sound effects and like miming things, it was much funnier than when they added the actual like voice acting and dialogue and everything. But
yeah,
that is me.
The voice acting in this game is worth it though.
It's its own story, so it's a little bit different.
It's its own story. It's not an IP with characters that you know what they should sound like and things like that.
Yeah. Anything else you want to say about Lego City?
Yes, thank you. No, no, we're good. We're good.
All right. Well, the last thing we have then is, like we said at the top, I finished off the Southern Reach trilogy, which is the first book of said trilogy is Annihilation, which we talked about the movie of a few weeks ago, and I talked a little bit about the book at the time. The past couple of days, I read the second and third books, which are called Authority and Acceptance. really good. Like, I would have loved it if they could have actually done the trilogy of films. Because I think the way that the initial film ended, gives it like it works for where the second book goes, and then for where the final book goes in a weird way. Like, it wouldn't have been the exact same thing, much like the movie was very different from the first book. But I think they could have done like an interesting adaptation, retelling sort of thing. But anyway, so Annihilation book is close enough to the movie that I'm not going to recap it. Authority is actually outside of Area X. You're following a man who calls himself Control, and he is the director of the government agency that is sending these expeditions into Area X, trying to figure out what's going on in there. Mm-hmm. And I guess like spoilers for these books, like they're several years old at this point, so take that for what it will. You find out that the psychologist that was in both in the first book and the movie, the one that was doing like the mind control and stuff to them, that she was basically like the head of the expedition. She was actually the former director. Like, she stepped down as director to go on this mission, and then like dies in Area X. So this new guy comes in, becomes director, and kind of like you follow him as he's trying to unravel all these different mysteries that are all related to Area X, but not related to necessarily being in there, related to like what this organization and the people that run it are really doing. And much like at the end of the movie, the biologist, which was Natalie Portman's character, was found outside of Area X and is back at this facility and is basically being held for like quote unquote debriefing while they try and figure out what happened in there. But she's cagey and doesn't remember a lot, and you're left with that same uncertainty early on, like at the end of the movie, where is that really her, or is it something that Area X created and left? Because the way book one ends, it doesn't end with her leaving Area X. It actually ends with her just leaving that lighthouse at the end and just wandering deeper into Area X, and that's where the book ends. Okay. So the movie kind of almost adapts a little bit of the second book, which is, interesting. But yeah, so as it goes along, you just find out like these little tidbits of things. Like there was there's the lighthouse that you see in the movie and in the first book, and you learn that there's a good chance that the creature that was there in the book specifically was actually the former lighthouse keeper that had been transformed by whatever Area X is. And you learn that the previous director may have grown up in the spot in the Florida, like the southern Florida, or not even the southern, like it's like is it the Panhandle? Is that what Florida, like that part of Florida is considered? That's like not part of like the tail of Florida. It's kind of like connected to like Mississippi.
Yeah, I think that's the Panhandle.
Yeah, so like area like that's where the zone is. It's down there. And she apparently grew up down there before all of this happened. So there's just all sorts of mystery gets layered on top of things in Authority. And it ends basically with Control going on the run and trying to find the biologist who escaped. And finding out that, like, she really isn't the biologist. She is a copy of her. And, like, an imperfect copy who remembers everything the biologist had done up to that point, but disagrees with all of it. And like kind of has her own personality and everything, which it's hard to tell that in the books, because so in Annihilation movie, you get everything from Natalie Portman's perspective. And she is acting in it too. So she's not narrating to you. She is just experiencing the things in real time. In the book, you're actually reading like her notes and expedition diary entries, essentially. So everything is very clinical and dry because she wasn't writing, like she wasn't experiencing at the time. She was telling you what she experienced up to that point, essentially. So when you're interacting with her in the government facility, she has a personality and she's sarcastic and she's a bit manipulative. And it's like, well, is she not her, or is this just her? And we just didn't get that because of the way the first book is formatted. And it actually, so Authority, the second book, ends with Control finding her and both of them re-entering Area X. So then when you get to the final book, Acceptance, it is, you find out that Control and she actually starts going by Ghost Bird or Bird Ghost, something like that, instead of the biologist. They get back into Area X and they find the former assistant director of the government facility, who worked directly under Control in the previous book. She somehow ended up in there. But for those two characters, it's only been like a week or two. For her, she's actually been in Area X for 3 years. So you find out that time moves at a wildly different pace inside like the bubble. And
it's the opposite of the movie?
No, I think everything moves faster in the movie, didn't it?
Everything moves slower in the movie.
Oh, I thought everything was faster in the bubble in the movie.
No, because her husband was gone for almost a year. And I thought he said it had only been a couple of days.
Oh, you know what? I think you're right. But he also wasn't really the husband, we figure out.
Yeah.
And like had a bunch of like memory shit gone wrong. So like who knows with that?
I feel like it was also said in that she was only gone for a few days.
I think they do say that in the movie too.
Like she was gone for a lot longer than just keep talking, I'll look it up.
And a lot of that is actually alluded to in the book, too, of her not knowing how many days it's been and thinking that it has been more in the first book. But yeah, so you find out that her name is Grace, the assistant director, has been kind of like wandering and trapped in there for 3 years. And then she also found the final like notes from the biologist, who it turns out she found an island that had another lighthouse on it. And then also found an owl that had like peculiar behavior, and kind of like stuck by her. And she started believing that owl was actually her husband that had been lost in Area X, and that Area X had just changed him into this owl-like creature. But she ended up spending 30 years in there over the span of maybe a year for like everybody else, before the owl died that she thinks was her husband, and whatever weird thing had infected her finally took over and turned her into a different creature. So you have all that going on for Control and Ghostbird and stuff. But then throughout this book, it's switching point of view to 2 different points in time. It's going back 30 plus years to before Area X formed, to the lighthouse keeper. Like, to that lighthouse that became the tower and everything from the movie. And you follow him for these chapters as he's just trying to live his life. He was a pastor. He gave up being a pastor. You don't necessarily like get like a hard confirmation that I caught, at least, but he's gay. So I'm thinking it may have been like he just finally like decided that he couldn't hide that anymore. I could be misinterpreting that. But he basically goes to this secluded area of Florida and becomes a lighthouse keeper. But throughout this, a little girl who ends up being the psychologist is just like, he's coming over to hang out with him because she thinks the lighthouse is cool, and doing like some of the menial stuff he does is fun. So like it's one of those situations. And he's also got these 2 people showing up that are from some sort of paranormal research society trying to do these weird experiments and stuff with the lighthouse. And he's not totally on board with it. And they just get creepier and creepier as time goes, up to the point where he basically becomes the creature, the tower, as Area X forms. And then the final kind of timeline they follow is actually the psychologist as she becomes the director of the government facility, leading up to the point where she enters with that 12th expedition into Area X, where she ultimately dies. And you find out that like she actually went into Area X previously without like authorization and was able to get out, and like didn't have anything like go horribly wrong for her. The person that came with her, not as lucky, but like she didn't like suffer anything too bad. And that she also has terminal cancer, and that is why she wants to go into Area X. She basically wants to go in there to die, because I feel like it's part of she thinks that if she's there, she won't die. She will just become something new.
Yeah.
But yeah, like it's a wild story, and I'm glad that I read the second and third books kind of back to back, because I feel like if I had taken a break between them, like I did between the first one and the second one, I would have just forgotten a lot of stuff, because the first book can kind of stand on its own. Like nothing from that first book really has like a big impact on the larger portion of what you're reading in the second two, but books 2 and 3 are definitely like much more tied together.
Yeah. From what I could read, Lena was in there for 4 months.
Okay.
So she was in there for a while, but I don't believe they hinted at how long she was actually in there, how long she thought she was in there. She just couldn't remember how long she was in there for.
Right, and I think that was the thing that they kept alluding to with everything, and that is no one knew where they were or how long they were there or anything like that.
I mean, they lost like 5 days of time because they all blacked out the second they walked in there, basically.
Right. I forgot that's how it starts. Yeah, it's interesting how both different and similar the movie and the books end up being. Mm-hmm. Like it looks like the movie started to be like go into early pre-production before the books were actually even published. Like the rights got purchased before the first book was published, I should say.
Yeah, that's wild.
Yeah, and based on when the movie came out, the first 2 books were released already, and I think the third book may have been released, but it's one of those they could have absolutely written or even revised the script to reflect some of the stuff in books 1 and 2, which I think is where we get the ending and some of the interstitials in the movie, where Lena is in the facility at the end and like going through debriefing and all that. I really think that is from them finding out what the second novel had and incorporating that to kind of have a more full-bodied story while still leaving that weird, like, not even quite a cliffhanger ending. Like, it's more of a, like, up to the viewer's discretion ending.
They could have absolutely done reshoots to fix that or change that.
Exactly. And, that's why I'm...
Like, they could have for sure have recorded it initially and then been like, oh, well, this is how the book is. Let's change it.
Well, so the first and second books came out in the same year.
Yeah.
So that's why that's what I mean. Like, I feel like they looked at what both of those had in it and used that as the blueprint for what they did in the movie. But the majority of it, they used book 1.
Yeah.
Because book 2 was completely unrelated. Or not unrelated is the wrong word. Like, you don't really go into Area X at all in the second book. It's all from the outside looking in, and there was really none of that in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, fantastic trilogy, and like they're fairly short books.
Yeah,
like you may actually enjoy them at some point. I think they're all under like 400 pages. I think they're like 350-ish a book, and other than like each book had like one kind of really chunky chapter. Most of the chapters are really short too, so it's very easy to like, I'm just going to read a quick chapter and then be like, oh, that only took like 10 minutes. I'm going to read another chapter real quick.
Yeah.
So I don't know about you, but like I hate stopping in the middle of chapters. I'd rather just...
I think the only time I ever technically stopped in the middle of a chapter was during World War Z, but even that, I might not have.
World War Z was at least a little different because it did have like...
They had chapters and chapters, essentially.
Yeah, and like Terry Pratchett books, like the Discworld books, especially the early ones, don't have chapters. It's like apparently he was quoted at one point saying something like, well, life doesn't have chapters, why should books?
I mean, life does have chapters.
It does, but he more meant like chapter breaks. Yeah. So they're very much like a book where you just have to kind of pick spots to stop or you're never going to stop. But I'm very much like I'm just going to read to the end of the chapter. Like, I'm not going to stop in the middle of one.
Yeah, no, I always finish a chapter. Always finish. Even if I'm falling asleep, I will tough it out. I will reread as many pages as I need to finish that chapter, or I will just reread that chapter the next time I read.
I've done that a couple times. Like, read like 2 pages, realized I was too tired, and be like, I'm just going to go back to the beginning of this chapter, and I'll just start it over tomorrow when, like, I know I'm going to pay attention.
Yeah.
And, like, for me, like, I both don't want to leave off in mid-chapter, because I feel like it's easier to forget what happened at that point for whatever reason. but also because I read like digital and like swap between audio and ebook and all, having it end on chapters makes it easier to pick up from other devices.
Yeah.
Because like Kindle will sync on all your devices to like the last thing you read. So as long as I end on a chapter, I know I'm picking up where I left off on the other device. And Audible in particular, if the book has whisper sync, does that too. So like if I read 3 chapters and then open the audiobook, it'll pick me up on chapter 4 or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Which is it's great because you don't have to keep track of where you left off on things.
Yeah.
But yeah, really cool books, worth reading. Highly recommend.
Nice.
Yeah.
We'll see. I haven't finished my Doctor Who book. It's a comic, and I sat down and read a bit of it, but then just past couple weeks I've been. Anytime I'm like, I want to set aside time to read, it just doesn't happen, and I'm just like, I'm too tired to read. So I haven't read that. Like, I read the first, like, I'm 3/5 through the first, like, comic in that omnibus, and, like, I'm on part 4 of 5 of the first book, and I just never finished it. I haven't gotten around to it. I'm just so tired lately. Like, even today, I should edit 2 videos before calling it quits and going to bed or watching TV, but I'm just so tired.
Yeah,
anymore.
I'm tired today too.
I'm just always tired because I can't drink coffee.
That's fair.
And yeah,
you know they do make just like caffeine like tablets you can just like suck on.
It's caffeine. I can't drink caffeine.
Oh, I thought it was the acidity in the coffee that was.
No, it is apparent. It's supposedly so. When you drink coffee, like the caffeine, or when you drink caffeine in general, and a lot of people will drink caffeine because like it helps them poop and it regulates them a little bit. But that's only because like the caffeine will relax different muscles in your body, and one of the muscles it will relax are muscles that are sphincter-like, and your lower esophagus is very sphincter-like, and it'll relax the lower esophagus, and it'll open up, and it'll stay a little bit more open, which causes the acid to gurgle back up.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, I always thought it was like acidity in the coffee.
No, it's the caffeine itself. So I need to find natural caffeine replacements. And it's just, there's not a lot out there.
Yeah, that is unfortunate.
It's like, eat berries. And I'm like, but I don't want to eat more.
Yeah, berries
I'm trying
to
eat less. I know, but like even eating a pound of berries a day to stay energized, you're still eating a pound of berries.
Well, obviously, then have some caffeine so that you poop them all out.
But then I'm just going to be hacking up a lung, or not a lung, but a stomach all day, and it's going to be uncomfortable and give me a headache and make me want to do less.
You might just be broken for life, man.
I am broken for life. And if I could just like find some way to just like get the government to be able to pay me so that I can start doing YouTube full time and then make these videos on my free time, on my own time, and not have to work, that'd be nice. Give me Social Security, and then I'll start making videos, and eventually I'll come off Social Security because I'm making videos and I'm making
You're almost there. You only got 30 more years.
I mean, look, if I can get some disability type of a can't work things going on, then like Family Leave Act or Medical Leave Act, where like I don't have to work anymore and they just pay me, then I can just.
What you need is you need to get hit by a bus so that you can then sue the bus company.
You know what? Well, that's an option. I've just been so tired to like read. Like this weekend in particular, I wanted to clean, I wanted to cook, and I did everything I wanted to do, but after I would get done some of the stuff, so like I recorded the 3 episodes that I would normally record, the 2 episodes that I would normally record on Wednesdays. I actually recorded that on Saturday this past week, and I edited the other videos. No, when did I edit? Did I edit the videos? I edited the videos on Friday between work and Brose. And then I recorded Brose. And then I recorded the next 3 videos. And then Sunday, I like cleaned the house, did meal prep, this, that, and the other thing. And I was like, all right, I'll have time to read while Chase is at the groomer. I didn't have time to read while Chase is at the groomer because meal prep and cleaning took too long.
That's a bummer.
Yeah, it's just been tired. But yeah, it is what it is. I'll get there. Still did technically read a book this month, so it's fine.
Yeah, that's all you got to do. Just read a book. Yeah, takes you 2 months. Takes you 2 months.
Technically, I did read a book this month. It just wasn't as long as I was expecting it to be. So that's why I was like, I need to read another book this month.
Yeah, you accomplished something. That's what matters.
Yeah.
But I think that will probably do it for this week.
That's a show.
Yeah. If you would like to find more of our content, you can head over to www.one-quest.com. You can also help us out by supporting us at patreon.com/onequest. If you can't support us there with your dollars, though, you can go to your favorite podcast platform, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify. Rate us, review us, subscribe to us. All of it helps. You can also find us on social media, facebook.com/onequestonline or at @1_quest on Instagram and Twitter. Our YouTube channel is youtube.com/onequestvideo. And you can always send us emails to social@one-quest.com. And Rich, what is your streaming this week?
Twitch.tv/B_1. That's where I'm video game streaming Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday this weekend. The weekend of March 1st. Literally, I will be streaming Final Fantasy VII Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. As much as I can. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. So come
that's
hang
tomorrow.
Out. That's yeah, it comes out tomorrow, but I always play Sea of Thieves on Thursdays, so I'm fine waiting until Friday after work. So it's starting Friday around like 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock after work for a couple of hours. Saturday and Sunday, there might be a family dinner or thing at some point, so...
You can skip that.
No, I'm not gonna, but like sometime on Saturdays and Sundays, on the Saturday and Sunday plus Monday and Tuesday next week, come hang out. Also, just FYI, even though it's Thursday when this comes out, we're like 2 subs away from 10 subs for the month. This is my lowest performing month in a long time.
It's the shortest month.
Which, I mean, it could... I think I do have quite a few subscribers that subscribe on the 29th, 30th, and 31st of each month. But it is literally my worst performing month in a while. Subscriber count, we are 2 subs away to get a spooky stream next month. Come on, guys. Just 2 more subs. Just 2 more subs.
You can do it.
We have 1 day to do it. That's tomorrow. Or Tuesday, which is today, or Thursday, when this comes out. Man, time.
Yeah, you're not doing so well.
The 29th is the last day to subscribe to get us a spooky stream next month.
All right. Well, with that, we will be back next week with something else to talk about. Thanks for listening. Bye.
See yous.